Hello, my name is Karen Hughes, and I am the Domestic Violence Clinical Service Coordinator at the Life Crisis Center, and I want to welcome you to Life Crisis Today. Today we're going to be talking about the Life Crisis Center's advocates, and I have one of our advocates with me today. Hello, Jennifer.
Hello.
Being an advocate, that word advocate, what does that mean?
The word advocate means to assist a personal individual, whatever they need to have assistance with. And there is another word, it's a Latin word for advocate. It means, in Latin, it means add voices for support. And the synonym for advocate is to be supportive.
Wow. So really, that's what you do. You add support to the clients in their needs.
Exactly.
So to be an advocate, is there any training that you have to go through?
Oh, definitely. We have, there's 2 areas of training. We have 32 hours of intense professional training. We do have 2 attorneys that assist, along with our coordinator, our legal coordinator, that does training sessions. We do have outside people that come in to their specific areas, especially there's a lot of trauma training involved. And then the other part of the training is that a person that is still in training shadows. That means they accompany one of us tenured advocates to wherever we're called to, where we're dispatched, and they, for 10 times, they shadow. And if they need any more, they can suggest it to our director of our legal services. But they are walked through everything as far as paperwork in the courtroom, and then as far as what we do for support and empowerment with the clients before and after they actually either go in the courtroom or in the hospital or wherever we meet them.
Wow. That really seems like it really covers a lot.
It's very intense. There's a lot of material, but there is a lot of training, but you get a lot of it when you get into shadowing. You see it all put together, and it makes sense. I mean, not that it doesn't make sense in the beginning, but it is a lot of intense training in a short period of time.
Wow. So you really feel confident once you are on your own then?
Oh, definitely, definitely.
How long have you been an advocate?
A little over 3 years.
Oh, wow. So to get a client, you mentioned a few things. You mentioned the courtroom, you mentioned hospital. How do you get a client?
Well, actually, we are actually called, or if you would rather say dispatched, either from the hotline, or there's a lot of clients that actually call the legal department, and we are dispatched from either one of the attorneys or our legal coordinator that's in the office. And that way we know the client's name and we can go. There is another way that we acquire clients, and that's if we're at the court or in the hospital, or if someone else needs our services, comes up and says, "Are you with Life Crisis?" We have that happen a lot. Or we approach them and tell them who we are and ask them if they know about us and if they would like to have our help. We do outreach as well.
Okay. So basically from the hospital, they call us to come in, or at the courthouse that you're already there.
Yes.
Or the commissioner might call at the commissioner's office.
Yes.
What counties do we serve?
We are Tri-County. We're Wacomico, Worcester, and Somerset. We do both district and circuit courts. We also do the hospitals. We do Atlantic General Hospital and Peninsula Regional Medical Center. And we do the commissioner's office in all 3 counties. And we also, there are just different possibilities. We may be working in the safe house, and clients there that we acquire and help them along with the process if they want a protective order for that process and what steps are involved.
Right. So you really just are providing support to them.
Absolutely.
Because the lawyers that you mentioned earlier,
lawyers,
they
yes.
do the lawyer work.
We do not. We are there for support. We do our effective listening. We are empathetic, non-judgmental, and we just need them. A lot of our clients, majority, are traumatized. They just need a caring, listening ear. And actually, we do help with the paperwork, and that's not the legal end. It's just asking them questions to fill in. And it's traumatic when they have to do that as well. And
making sure they're putting their name in the right place on the paperwork.
Absolutely, yeah. And signing it and dating it. But in the hospital, a lot of times, we're just there to give them resources about life crisis and to help them through the process of what they're having to endure, to go through a lot of practices that the hospital does provide.
What types of clients do you serve?
We serve domestic violence, sexual assault, we do human trafficking, and we also are accompany one of our clients if there has been a protective order, a final, if the respondent, who is the offender or the abuser, if they have violated that protective order, we will accompany them as a support system into the trial for them.
Okay. So let me make sure I got it. Domestic violence, sexual assault, trafficking, and then if there are violations.
Violation of a protective order.
Okay,
Yes.
okay. So you've mentioned a lot of the things of providing support. Just being with them, what is it what do you do?
We listen. We let them know that we're there to give them support. The biggest thing is support, and to get them to tell us, because if they're filling out a protective order, they have to relive that trauma all over. So it takes a lot of caring, the support, and empathy, and just let them know that we believe in them. And we believe that we can, we're not going to make the difference. They're the ones that are going to make the difference because they have come that far for help. And that means they have that strength, but they don't realize it. And we're there to empower them.
Right.
That is the greatest, other than the support, is the empowerment.
Right. I know when I'm speaking to the clients, they usually feel like they're at their lowest point in their life. And yet I tell them that they're actually being the most courageous when they're actually standing up for themselves.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot for them to do that. It may take, days, months, some years to absolutely come forth and be able to ask for help.
Right. I hear how you're giving to them. What rewards do you get from doing this work?
The main reward is their gain. And by gain, I mean we witness them going from a victim to a survivor. Because that strength comes, it's always been there, but it's been hidden. And we see that strength come out. They just own their own empowerment, and they are their biggest support system. And it is just so amazing and rewarding to see that when this happens in a person. And when, like I said, when they become a survivor because they are of what the trauma they have gone through.
Yeah. So I'm sure you hear a lot of that trauma, and it's hard. It's hard work. So that you don't get what I call secondary trauma yourself, because you're out there on the front line. What supports do you get?
Well, we do have debriefing. We can either debrief with a coworker in the legal department, because everything is confidential, or with both of the attorneys. We can debrief. It's good to debrief, because the trauma, secondary trauma, is very evident, and we experience it. and it is wise to talk about it and get another point of view. And we do have meetings in the legal department because, like I said, everything is confidential. So advocates and our attorneys meet together, usually once a month. But right now it hasn't been because of everything going on. And but we also interact with certain clients. We may not say their name, but we just want to get someone else's opinion. And that's part of debriefing too. It's not really to say whether I did something right or wrong. It's just to be able to get it out and get someone else's perspective. But it's just releasing stress.
Right.
And the trauma, like you said, secondary trauma is just as bad as the trauma itself, because we live their trauma when we hear it.
Right.
Because we do care so much.
Yeah.
And also we have trainings, you know. We keep up with trainings. I mean, you can never, use it or lose it, but no, every client may be different. Their trauma may be different. We need to keep focused on trainings as well. And that's how we handle that secondary trauma.
I'm sure self-care is really important. I know I've been in the field for over 20 years, so you can't do it without self-care.
No.
So talk about self-care.
Self-care is really taking the time to take care of you. Whether it includes both physically and mentally. You know, the secondary trauma with debriefing and the meetings and, you know, and the trainings, that's the mental portion. But the physical, we need activity, you know, and sometimes that's hard when you have a busy schedule and you never know when you're going to be called to advocate, but you have to take time for yourself. You have to, or the stress and anxiety will get to you more than you're going to realize.
Yeah,
and it catches up.
It does. And you don't want burnout.
No.
Yeah.
That's a big thing, you know, especially with trauma that we learn through trainings, that trauma will get you to burn out very quickly. And the self-care is a way to overcome that.
So if somebody wanted to become an advocate, what steps would they need to take?
Well, if they came to me and asked me, I would give them our director of the legal office, Nancy Chernoff. I would give them her name, and her number is 410-749-8111. That is the legal office. And we do have another attorney. We have 2 full-time attorneys, and they go to all 3 counties, and that's who I would tell them to contact.
Okay.
And I also would suggest, Life Crisis has a website, and it is excellent. They can learn a lot about Life Crisis just on the website. So I would suggest, even if you're not thinking about being an advocate, go on the website if you've never been on it, because there's a lot to Life Crisis. People really don't know.
Right, right.
Especially the advocacy.
Yeah.
I mean, we do a lot.
So contacting Nancy or going on the website is how they can apply to be an advocate.
Absolutely.
And then they would go through that training you talked about and do the shadowing, and then they would become an advocate.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
So are any last words about being an advocate or working with the clients, or anything that you would like to speak about?
Well, it's like I was thinking when I read the Latin version of what an advocate is. It's all voice matters. And everybody has a voice, especially with victims who are survivors of trauma. Their voice does matter.
And helping them find their voice again.
Well, yes, and they will find their voice through when they become empowered. And it takes time with counseling. And but our first encounter with advocacy is with the peace or protective orders. I'm sorry. that we help them through that process. And with the attorneys, they do the legal end, and we all work together. It's a team. It's a team effort. But they find, like you said, they find their voice. They may not have it for a while, but they do find it. And that is another reward of an advocate, what we hear and see. And it is just, it's so rewarding for us. Nothing like it.
And I know that clients tell me all the time as to how much that you as an advocate help them. So I know that it's a good program and it really helps. So if anybody wants to be an advocate, give us a call.
Right, absolutely. And if you're in doubt, if you think that you may not have qualification, let Nancy decide.
Yeah.
You know, give her a call, because, you know, if that's what you have, if your heart says, I would like to be one,
give it a try.
Give it a try, you know, and you may find it's so rewarding. It really is.
Yeah. Well, Jennifer, thank you. Thank you for all this information, and I know that you really care, and you care about the clients. And I thank you for all the work that you do with them.
Oh, well, Karen, thank you for asking me
to
do this interview. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
But I wish I would have advocated way before the 3 years that I have been.
Oh, well, I'm glad you're
making up for time.
Okay. Thank you. Well, and thank you for joining me today.
Oh, well, thank you.
And I want to thank you for joining us. And if you do want to become an advocate, please, you can call the Life Crisis Center. There's a couple of phone numbers. The legal department is 410-749-8111. Or you can call our hotline. Our hotline's here 24 hours a day. And so that number is 410-749-HELP. Again, 410-749-4357. Otherwise, we talked about the website. It's www.lifecrisiscenter.org. You can also text to chat, and that number is 898-211, and then you put in your zip code, and then you can chat with one of the specialists. Thank you. And thank you, PAC 14, for making this available to us to present this to you today.